Let's bring in Rich Eisen. He's the host of The Rich Eisen Show, conveniently named, on DirecTV, the Audience Network, and also the NFL Network. What's the schedule for you guys on Saturday and Sunday on the NFL Network, Rich?
We're on the air 4.5 hours before kickoff of Falcons Saints, so that's noon Eastern, 9 a.m. out here on the left coast. And then we'll turn right around and be at our the usual time of 9 a.m. Eastern on Sunday morning prior to Pittsburgh and Jacksonville.
Let me ask you about the we ended last hour talking about Monday Night Football, and how would Tom Brady be in that role? But let me make you the boss of ESPN, and you're going to bring in somebody from Monday Night Football trying to replace John Gruden, and you can have anybody. Who would you take?
Peyton Manning.
Would you take him over Brady?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brett Favre?
I would. Yes, I would. Yeah. I'm considering every single person that I could. It would be Peyton Manning. He's got the greatest name recognition possible. He's got the gift of gab. He's funny, and would be a huge monster splash hire. And I think he'd be terrific at it. I think he'd be great at it. I just don't know if he's going to do it or would want to do it right now. I think most people believe his post playing career route, should it involve football, would be the Elway role, not the analyst role.
Yeah, and I don't know what. I know Brady has shown glimpses of a sense of humor in some of the commercials he's done, and I brought up an interview I did with him over the phone for ESPN, the magazine, on the back page, and he was really funny, self-deprecating. And I'm going to guess he would tackle that like he does anything else. He wants to be great at it. Brady would be a curiosity for me. Favre, I think, would be fun. How about Favre and Randy Moss together?
That'd be great. Sure. Yeah. I mean, anything to mix it up. I was one of those who enjoyed Dennis Miller, just having somebody different in the booth from the perspective of, conventional wisdom. Cosell was that, if you think about it. I mean, the very original Monday Night Football booth. I just don't know. I think in reality, I know that the names being mentioned involves one of my guys in Kurt Warner, and I don't know what his contractual status is. And, in terms of ESPN taking somebody from the game day morning set, that might actually help two birds with one rating stone right there. But Steve Young, to me, would be a great choice. I mean, he's already in the building. He's already there. He's already somebody who's, I think, done it before. Didn't he do one of those with Boomer a few years ago, one of those back-end Monday night doubleheaders on ESPN? That seems to me he's already in-house. He's already at the games. And he's a Hall of Famer who knows the game very well, and I think can speak off the top of his head in the manner in between snaps that you need.
Yeah, he would be great, but trying to get that kind of new blood in there, and I agree with you. I think Peyton looks at being more of a guy running a team than doing Monday Night Football. We're talking to Rich Eisen from the NFL Network. Blake Bortles comparing the criticism he receives to LeBron James. Okay, what did you make of this?
Well, I mean, I thought he said, look, if LeBron James has detractors, then, obviously I am. And then people are saying he's comparing himself to LeBron James, which takes about 5 different, we've had more leaps trying to connect Kevin Bacon to Cicely Tyson. You know what I mean? So,
all right, well, let me give the quote here. Bortles on criticism. Do you have it, Seton? All right, let's play it so we can put it in context.
How much more do you have to do to silence the haters?
It'll probably never stop, man. There's people that think LeBron James sucks, so if that happens, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that always think I suck.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I don't think he's saying that he's King Blake, I mean, I didn't take it that way. Did you?
No. I think what he's saying is, as great as LeBron is, he still has detractors, so I'm always going to have detractors because I'm not LeBron James, and he has people who are, criticizing him. So I think he was having fun.
He is, and he just looked terrible in his first playoff game. Yeah. He just looked terrible. And, I've never seen a team win a playoff game and then the quarterback win a playoff game, and the narrative still is, man, how great would this team be with a veteran quarterback on it? I mean, that's part of the reason what makes this game so great in Pittsburgh. If they can one and done the Steelers, one would think it would have to be because Bortles plays an efficient game. And interestingly enough, you know, when Bortles came out, the guy that he was being compared to at the Combine a lot was Roethlisberger. You know, guy with size, a big arm, the ability to extend a play with his legs. Sometimes when he's hit, the play begins as opposed to ending. And here he goes into that building for his first road career playoff game. And, you know, the defense turning Ben over 5 times last time and then Leonard Fournette running through it was what was the answer. So this is a big spot for him, but I still think that when it's all said and done, the Alex Smith rumors will be strong come the Combine time, March, April. We'll even wonder what the new coach of the Giants, whoever that's going to be, is going to do with Eli. Would that be a mix? So, yes, I understand what Blake's saying, but anybody who sits there and thinks that he's comparing himself to LeBron is kind of off, I think.
Can he win himself into the permanent job there in Jacksonville?
Oh yeah, sure. If they win in Pittsburgh and then they go to New England and win in New England, why would you touch anything? I mean, you'd think. But look, I think here's how the narrative can never end, and the Atlanta Falcons are a perfect example of that. All right. So they lose the Super Bowl in that fashion, and then all off season long we talk about that Super Bowl loss, and then throughout the entire season. We talk about the Super Bowl loss being a hangover. Then they make the playoffs, and then they crush it against the Rams. Then we see the Georgia Bulldogs lose in that manner, and we're still talking about how Atlanta fans have suffered the same thing. And we will see that Super Bowl loss replayed over and over again throughout the game against the Eagles. And should they win that against whoever they play in the NFC Championship game, and even if they're up at halftime of the Super Bowl, we're still talking about it. So it's very difficult to shake a narrative sometimes in the NFL, and Blake's learning that clearly.
You going on Kimmel soon here?
Yeah, in a couple weeks.
Oh,
actually.
Look at that. Rich Eisen on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Very, very excited about that, yeah.
Now,
that's coming down.
Now, how do you plan your story? Usually they want to know, they pre-interview you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then they want to know, hey, what do you think, who's going to be in the Super Bowl? Or this is probably on the eve of the Super Bowl week, I'm guessing, that you'll be on with Kimmel?
No, yeah, it's the Wednesday before heading to Minnesota.
Okay, so then they're going to say...
So we'll know who's in it.
Yeah, so you'll give a Super Bowl prediction, and then they're going to probably want... Do you have any fun Super Bowl stories?
I don't know. Here's the thing, Dan. You know how it goes. You get a call, and you tell stories, and you know the producer will probably laugh at all of them, and you're wondering if it's really funny or not. And then you give them about 20 different things, and only 2 gets used, and you just hope you have a good conversation. I mean, I know you were on Letterman. I was on Letterman at the draft. He had me on at the draft during the lockout because Letterman was fascinated by how the NFL is having a draft during a lockout. He just really wanted to know all those questions. And I remember thinking to myself, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. And I got a buddy of mine who knows Letterman very well, having worked with him for decades. It's just like, just sit back and let him drive the bus. And just also be careful that, A, it's cold, and B, he blacks out the audience, so anytime he has a laugh, you think it's coming from a void. And it's just really freaky. But I guess once you've done that, the rest of it is kind of a different story.
Yeah, they would pre-interview you on Letterman, then you would think, like you were waiting for the hint that Dave was going to get to the story. The setup was going to be there, and then I would go into this great story. And then I realized...
It never happened.
Dave, I mean, like, why did I do a pre-interview? Because Dave would just go rogue with you. I remember he said, why aren't there 2 footballs? Why don't they just play 2 footballs? And I go, I have no idea. Like, it wasn't anything we discussed. And then he kept bringing it up. He goes, then 2 minutes later, he goes, why don't we have 2 footballs? Wouldn't the game be better with 2 footballs?
Do you remember when, what was it? Was it the 20,000th Sports Center when they decided to actually use all of us for publicity purposes for one of the first times ever and divvied up late-night show appearances amongst the SportsCenter anchors. And I think you went on, Dave, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
I drew the assignment of going on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Nice.
And this was before John started cursing with regularity on the show. I mean, we're talking a long time ago. So I remember going through the pre-interview. He could not have been nicer and greater to come backstage and just chit-chat and just shoot the you-know-what about sports. Then we get out there. The first thing he says to me is 20,000 sports centers. Man, that's a whole bunch of BS, and use the actual word. Just snapped that 12-6 curveball right off. I did not know how to answer that. I just did not. The whole crowd roared with laughter. Definitely wasn't expecting that one, but you have to take those sorts of instances I guess they think you can handle it. So I try to get my way through it, and I don't think I did very well at it, but that was a blast.
Well, the last time I was on Letterman, I did not wait for him. I was taking the initiative, and I was going to ask him.
You went rogue.
Yes, I did.
You went rogue.
I did because I'm not going to wait for him. I'm going right at him, and I didn't care. I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask him some questions. And, however it falls out, great. But I was able to control it a whole lot more. And the fact that Dave had me on those last couple of months that he was on the air was, very nice. Man. But I'd always come away, I'd go, God, that was painful. And then his people would say, man, Dave loves you. I'm like, I'd hate to think if he didn't love me, if I feel this crappy when I'm done. Because he thought I was drunk when I picked the Giants over the Patriots. He's like, are you drunk? And I'm going, no. And then when I said Peyton is not staying with the Colts, and he kept saying, no, he's staying with the Colts. I know. I said, he's not staying with the Colts, Dave. Yes, Paulie.
Dan, I have the show description from the Daily Show with Jon Stewart where Rich Eisen was a guest, August of 2002, Rich.
Yes.
He had on Rob Corddry. He had on something else. He said, and he accuses sportscaster Rich Eisen and sports of being a fraud. It's in the description.
I'm telling you, it was just wow. Right, but he started really. It was chin music right from the start, and then the 12-6 curveball, the knee buckler.
I love that.
That one off.
I love that.
Yeah, that's it, Paulie. That was it. 2002. Man, geez, 16 years ago now. And so, but. It's tough to crack the Letterman Netflix lineup. Did you see who he's got on his new Netflix show?
Right.
My goodness.
He goes out of the gate with Obama.
Yeah, I know.
Who else?
Clooney and he's got Clooney. He went. It's Dave, top shelf.
Yeah, I'm not holding out hope getting on that show. not.
By the way, I made my 20,000th point as a broadcaster yesterday, and nobody noticed that. So I don't know what else to say. But I'm going to keep plugging away.
Rich, you got to have hot takes, not points. I keep telling you.
I got the topic bar and the split screens already, Dan. I got it all set.
He's Rich Eisen, NFL Network. He'll be busy this weekend with all the NFL coverage and his show on DirecTV, the Audience Network, coming up in about 40 minutes from now. Rich, good luck this weekend.
Thanks, DP.
All right, bud. That's Rich Eisen.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.